Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, Lamar Jackson versus Ravens History, Part 1. Let's talk about it. Over the next series of videos, we're going to be discussing where Lamar Jackson currently sits amongst Baltimore Ravens greats. By now, you must consider that he already sits amongst the Baltimore Ravens top 10, but specifically where he sits is going to be based on certain criteria. In order to be a Baltimore Ravens top 10 player, here are 5 criteria that we identified in order to make this thing valid. Number 1, a player had to be originally born a Raven, meaning they had to be drafted by the Ravens. Number 2, a player must have longevity, 5-year minimum. What 5 years represent is a 4-year rookie deal and some type of extension, whether it was a 5th-year option pickup if you were a first rounder, or it was some type of extension if you were drafted outside of the first round. Number 3, when that player was on the Ravens, how did they impact winning? Number 4, a player's personal accomplishments, meaning did they play at an elite level, making Pro Bowls and All Pros, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, all those kind of things. And number 5, during that player's era, did they help the Baltimore Ravens be in Super Bowl contention? Meaning, were they consistently in the playoffs? Did they make it to AFC championships? And did they attend any Super Bowls? And we understand that the Ravens have already captured 2 Super Bowls. So with no further ado, let's jump into this series. Alright, let's get this all-time Ravens list started off with number 10, Marshall Yanda. Yanda is a 6'3", 300-plus pound guard drafted out of Iowa. The Baltimore Ravens selected Yanda in the 2007 draft in the 3rd round with pick 86. Yanda volleyed between right guard and right tackle over his first 4 seasons, starting at both positions. However, once Yanda found his home at right guard, his legend was born. Yanda was known as consistent, stable, powerful, and solid. He was good in run blocking and good as a pass blocker. Yanda also had position flexibility. Whatever the Baltimore Ravens needed him to play in a down moment, Marshall Yanda would absolutely step in and play that position well. He spent some time later in his career at left guard when the Baltimore Ravens was down a man. Marshall Yanda was the absolute example of what it meant to be a Baltimore Ravens. Well, why do I have Marshall Yanda breaking into the top 10? Well, number 1, he was born a Raven. Number 2, he has the longevity, spending 13 years in a Baltimore Ravens uniform. Number 3, his contribution to winning. Marshall Yanda was consistent as a right guard, never needed anybody to pick him up and fill in for him, never benched for his inconsistent play. His contributions were consistently felt throughout his entire Baltimore Ravens era. Marshall Yanda had personal accomplishments. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro. 6 of those All-Pros came in 6 consecutive years. And then he closed out his career with back-to-back Pro Bowls in 2018 and 2019. Marshall Yanda was also the starting right guard on the 2012-2013 Baltimore Ravens championship. He hit all of the metrics we put forth to break into the Baltimore Ravens top 10. Marshall Yanda, number 10 on the all-time Ravens list. Number 9 on the all-time Baltimore Ravens list is none other than Justin Tucker. Tucker is a 6'1", 185-pound kicker out of the University of Texas. Tucker joined the Baltimore Ravens in 2012 as an undrafted free agent. Talking about stepping into a position at a critical time. In 2012, the Baltimore Ravens were in pursuit of a Super Bowl championship, and Justin Tucker made big kicks in his first season. Now, why would a kicker be on an all-time list for the Ravens with such a deep, rich history? Well, number 1, Justin Tucker is an original Raven. Number 2, he has longevity. He has already completed 12 years in a Baltimore Ravens uniform and is entering his 13th season. He has been consistent when it comes to his kicking percentage, eclipsing 90% for a career, making him the all-time leader in field goal percentage. He holds the longest field goal in NFL history with 66 yards, a game winner against the Detroit Lions. Justin Tucker is a 7-time Pro Bowler and a 5-time first-team All-Pro. And just in case we're not convinced, he was also a contributor to the 2012-2013 Ravens Super Bowl championship team. Justin Tucker, number 9 on the all-time Ravens list. Number 8 on the Baltimore Ravens all-time list is Jamal Lewis. Lewis was a 5'11", 245-pound bruiser of a running back drafted out of Tennessee. The Baltimore Ravens chose Lewis in the 2000 draft, first round with pick 5. Lewis stepped in as a rookie and was never not great, rushing for over 1,300 yards in his first season and empowering the Baltimore Ravens offense to help them go secure their first championship at the close of that season. Why does Lewis make the Baltimore Ravens top 10? Well, number 1, to get in, he had to be born a Raven, and he was. Lewis has 7 years in a Baltimore Ravens uniform. And when you think about his contribution, the Baltimore Ravens were not a winning team before 2000. Before he joined this offense, the Baltimore Ravens had won at best 9 games. Once Lewis joined this offense and began to power that running game, the Baltimore Ravens secured double-digit wins on average every season that he was available. Lewis missed his second season with a torn ACL, but jumped right back on the field, healthy and ready to go in his third season, again rushing for over 1,300 yards. It was if he's never missed a step. Lewis was a 1-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro, and one of his most significant feats as a Baltimore Ravens player is his 2,000-yard season, rushing for over 2,000 yards, totaling 14 touchdowns, being one of only 8 players to ever do that in NFL history. And to secure his spot in the top 10, Jamal Lewis is the Baltimore Ravens all-time leading rusher with over 7,000 rushing yards. Jamal Lewis, number 8 on the Baltimore Ravens all-time list. Alright, let's sum these 3 players up. Marshall Yanda is a top 10 Baltimore Raven all-time because of one unique thing that he did during his career. Yes, he was a Raven for 12 plus seasons. Yes, he has multiple Pro Bowls, multiple All-Pros. He is a champion. But the thing that gets him onto this top list above other players and other offensive linemen is his ability to adapt and adjust. You see, during the championship years of the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco was Marshall Yanda's quarterback. And Joe Flacco was known as a pocket passer. Yes, he had some mobility, but Joe Flacco would rather stay in the pocket and deliver the ball downfield. That's one style of play. But halfway through the season in 2018, when the Baltimore Ravens made a full-time switch, Yanda had to adjust and adapt on the fly. You see, the system itself was built for Joe Flacco, the offensive system. And so for them to have to switch in the middle of the season, Yanda would have had to adjust and adapt to a dual threat quarterback. A quarterback who would take off and go for 20 yards off the middle. A quarterback who had read options called for him. A quarterback that would stay in the pocket and run around waiting for something to come open to deliver the ball downfield. That is a huge adjustment from a traditional pocket passer to a super athletic quarterback who will absolutely do it with his arm and his legs. And the thing is, Yanda played at an elite level with both styles of quarterback. That's the reason he gets the nod over other Ravens players. When we go to Justin Tucker flat out is the best kicker in NFL history. And so just by that, alone, he had to make the Baltimore Ravens top 10. But his cement's not dry yet. He's still adding to his Hall of Fame career. So he absolutely has an opportunity to continue to climb up this list. But when you are the most accurate in NFL history, when you're the Baltimore Ravens leading scorer of all time, you have to get into the top 10, especially when Justin Tucker has been as clutch as he has been. And then Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis makes this list because he's the Baltimore Ravens all-time leading rusher with over 7,000 yards and over 35 touchdowns as a Baltimore Ravens. See, when the Baltimore Ravens are known as a run-first team, right? And you have a 28-year tradition of trying to run the ball, and Jamal Lewis still stands alone at the top of that rushing list, I had to give him the nod over other offensive players such as a Ray Rice, a Torrey Smith, so on and so forth. Not even that the competition was close between those guys. So Yanda, number 10, Justin Tucker, number 9, and Jamal Lewis, running back, number 8. But I still have Lamar Jackson coming in above those 3 players. And my reasoning for this, just for this video, is the burden that he has to carry as a quarterback. When you have to carry basically the entire burden for an offense, and you've done it at a high level, I have to give him the nod. So at minimum, Lamar Jackson has moved from 11 up to number 7 at a minimum. So listen, man, stay tuned. By all means, let me know if you disagree with my 10, 9, and 8 ranking. Do you have somebody else? Who would you take off? Who would you put on? Or are you cool with these 3 players? I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.